We'll start off today with some yellow on a 1-inch brush. Of course, I've got some masking tape here for my horizon line. I put some clear gel and white here on the sky as well. Now we need a little bit of an explanation. Today I'm working on a commission painting. That's why it's so small. I'm working in oils. And of course, if you're enjoying this and you'd like to see more, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. It really helps me out a lot. Also, don't forget to click the bell so that you'll be notified when I put up my next painting video. So now I've got a pink color going here, and I put a little red around the sun area, but now I'm going to put some pink on top and allow that pink to feather up, which should be good. We're going to be doing a lighthouse today, but it's going to be a lighthouse at sunset or sunrise, whatever. Doesn't actually make a whole lot of difference to the painting. It's whatever the viewer wants it to be. Looks good. That really works. We'll put some purple clouds up in there, but this is at least it's a good start, you know. I like to have a nice band of red around my yellow, if you know what I mean. There we go. So now I've got a filbert brush, and I'm gonna work on these clouds. Actually, it's a little darker than I want, so I'm gonna lighten that just a tiny bit with some white. Sometimes it looks great on your palette, and it's just not quite what you want on the canvas. Ever happened to you? It happens to me every time I paint. Oh, that's okay. You know what's always fun is it's just never a big deal to change stuff in a painting. It's usually super easy. Even if it's not, it usually doesn't take much time. And the results are always better when you change something, because then you won't have to wonder, you know, oh, I wonder if it would look better. Just go try it and see if it does look better. If it doesn't, you can always cover it with something else. Oh, I don't even know what I'm rambling on about. There we go. Maybe just a couple of little stringy clouds here. I like the look of that. I do want to make those nice and soft, and we'll come in with some other softer colors as well. Let's just get the bulk of these kind of dark purple ones in. That'll work. That'll definitely work. Make sure you're holding these brushes way at the back. Can't tell you how many times, and I catch myself doing it as well, but I see people like this trying to paint. Stand back and hold your brush way in the back. You get a much better effect. It's easier to control the angles, and it's much easier to see what you're doing when your face is not 6 inches away from the canvas. Now for the most important part of the painting, the shop towel. We're going to be removing all of this slippery paint. Oh wow, look at that highlight that was it was hiding under there. That looks good. Why would you put white paint on when you can just take the thick paint off and you get a highlight just because of the transparent yellow? Oh, that's nice. Never thought you'd get excited about taking a shop towel and wiping off a canvas, right? Well, good things can happen. And best of all, we're not going to create mud. It's just not going to happen, because we are getting rid of all that slippery paint. Now, you could use a rag. If you don't have access to shop towels, just use a rag. It'll be fine. And I'm not too sure how well it's going to wash out, but I bet you get quite a few uses out of that rag. Never actually tried it with a rag, but don't try it with a paper towel. Just trust me. I'm okay with a brush hair or two left in my painting. A lot of the old masters, you go to a museum, almost always they have brush hairs in there, so it never bothers me. But I've never seen paper towel shavings, so I try to keep those out. Yes. But look at that. You can blend and remove paint in preparation for blending, all in one step. All in one step. Nice. Now, it's just like painting though. Once you get your shop towel dirty, you don't bring it back into that yellow, you stay out here. So now I've got a little bit of blue. That may be just a little too blue. How about somewhere right there? And now that there's almost no paint, we should be able to place down a little extra, like maybe some just pockets. This is sky maybe showing through, and we'll make that more apparent when we go to kind of outline our clouds a bit. I think it'll look good. It's good to have a little variation in your whoa, come on, where did that blue come from? I know where it came from. It came from me not concentrating on my palette while I was reloading. There we go. But anyway, that blends in nicely. Anyway, I kind of like that blue showing through out here. And that allows me to do blues in the ocean and some blues up in the lighthouse. It's not all warm colors. There's a balance of warm and cool colors. And I think that's pretty good when you can do that. I don't always do that in my sunset paintings, but I do it a lot of the time, and I like the way it looks, so that's why. Yep, that works. That really works. So we'll kind of jump back here with some more cloud highlight, and we'll make it all look correct. Now I'm going to underpaint our water here with this peach tone, and you can actually see my peach tone right here. I think it works with the colors, you know. Don't need to go too far away from these pretty colors. Maybe some of these purples, definitely not maybe, definitely some of those purples will be used. But for now, I think that's pretty good start. Maybe a little more yellow toward the horizon could be kind of pretty. You'll notice I removed the masking tape and I went ahead and put in a very, very basic sketch. Just kind of, okay, there's the little rock, there's the little wave. And we can put our lighthouse and stuff on top right here. I did not sketch that in, but you can kind of see there's only really one spot for it. Well, there you go. This is the most tedious part of a seascape, getting the little horizon line in straight once you pull that tape. But the tape does help. Doesn't do it all for you. You still have to be careful, but it definitely helps a little bit. Definitely helps a little bit. All right, that's probably good enough. I'll wipe that off. There's too much paint there, but I'm just trying to get my pretty colors in first. Maybe as we're working away from that, I've got just a little purple laying around. Maybe I'll grab some of that purple and just place in some of that purple on the edges. And we'll blend it all together when we remove the paint, just like we did the sky. It's exactly the same because the water really is just a reflection of the sky. A little more to it than that when you're painting an ocean, but something like a flat lake, you're literally just painting that landscape and the sky twice. But that works. It's kind of pretty, isn't it? It makes the biggest difference when you go to wipe that canvas off. Try to get as much of that paint off without ruining anything as possible. So that's done. Let's get our detail brush and some of our highlight tones. Let's stick the eye of the wave in right here. Oh, not very big today, is it? That works. All right, looks great. How about a little more purple? A little purple right along the underside of that wave. Blend those together. Oh yeah. This is just the beginning stages. Good. Now, one thing you can do, and I'm not going to do too much with a filbert brush. The 3/4 flat or even the 1/4 flat for this size is way better for painting ocean stuff. It's softer, but I'm going to do some of it with the filbert brush because it's in my hand. Nice. I'm loving those purple tones to indicate the shadow of the waves. To me, I think that really works. Works nicely. And then less and less and less. In fact, we need to stop with that brush right about there. Good. And then we'll fill this in as well. That actually should be something maybe a little more warm. Perfect. And then umber. Probably the only reason I've got umber is for the rocks and for the sand. And even still, we need to have some yellow in it. That works. So now that the ocean is at least somewhat established, just basically the first layer of paint is in, we can work on the actual land here for the lighthouse to sit on. It's kind of the next big thing we need to tackle is the lighthouse. It'd be good to get it done, or at least mostly in, and then we'll work at kind of finishing up the ocean around it. It's kind of the order I want to go into. And you can really do it any order you like. Just about any painting, you can do it any order you like, but this one in particular is easy to do that with. And you won't get yourself into any issues that usually come along with going out of order, such as painting your trees in twice. But anyway, you kind of know what I mean. You've watched me do it enough. There we go. That looks good, doesn't it? Just a little extra there. See how we have multiple layers? You don't want just one flat layer. That's very dull. We don't want dull. We do not want dull. There. Get some extra highlight. That looks very decent. A little more yellow ochre. You could just add as many colors to this grass as you like. The more colors, always the better. Really hard to overdo color. A few reds in there as well to reflect those reds in the sky. Well, I've got a general location here of my lighthouse, kind of the base of the lighthouse, and I started to freehand it and I stopped. I thought, well, maybe we could do this an easier way. So I found a scrap of cardboard, and this has got a nice factory clean edge to it, and I'm going to use that as a ruler, and we're going to see how this works. Now, this is an oil painting, and I am okay with putting my hand like that. It's not going to mess anything up. I can just wipe my fingerprint off. So I'm going to be definitely touching the wet canvas. But anyway, this helps me get a straighter line, much straighter line, and I can clean that line up and follow that line. Let me just wipe my cardboard off like that. And let's try again on the other side and see how that works. I'm going to place it just like before. Kind of make sure it's relatively straight with that slight incline, or the curve in that the lighthouses tend to have. Hold my breath and pull down, and there we go. That's not bad. I think this one needs to come out a little, but I'll tweak it. I just wanted to show you that technique. So now we pretty much have a lot of the details and colors in, but we've got to tackle the light, and I'm not too sure how to do this, it being on such a small scale, so I've got an idea. I've got a shop towel, and I've got the back of my detail brush. Now, this may be kind of crazy, and that's okay. Let's just try it, because I figured the worst thing in the world we could do is add paint and get mud. So usually the safest thing to do is remove paint. Let's try it and see what happens. I've got a ton of paint caked up there by the actual light. Now, because this is a commissioned painting, if I'm not pleased with it, I'm not going to fight it. I'm just going to let it dry, and I'll dry brush blend this in 4, 5, 6 days, however long it takes to dry. This isn't super thick except for that little light spot, so it probably will be more on the 3 or 4 day. And other than that, just let it dry. But I'd like to get it in while it's wet if possible, so that I don't have to do that. Let's just see how this works. Just removing paint. See, I kind of expected it to be like that sun, and it was just like, oh, we're back to white, but that's not happening. It's not happening. So I'm gonna keep doing this. I think this might work to go ahead and put some white over this after we get all this paint off. My little lens flare, whatever you would call it, from the light isn't gonna be very big. All right, that's probably about all we're gonna need, honestly. I don't think I'm gonna need to go back in after it's dry in a few days. I think I'm pleased, very, very much pleased with that. Just by wiping that area off, it totally works. Now, this is one of those things you can't see when you're close up to it, so make sure you're standing far away. And get that in, that looks good. I want that to be super subtle. If you haven't seen my paintings for sale on the website, definitely go to the website and check it out. Whole bunch of paintings already done for you to choose from. Actually, just the ones we do in the videos together. It's kind of fun. There we go. I think at this point, I'm going to stop. I'm going to follow my own advice. I'm going to stop, and I'm going to lock it in so I don't mess it up. Now, it might be worthwhile getting just a couple of lights in, some window. Well, we don't even have the windows, but here's the window and the light all at once. Could be interesting. Yeah, that works. Here's just some yellow and some red and some mud, all mushed together. Give it a quick little outline on top at least. Good enough. We don't want to bring too much attention to this wave, that is for sure. That would be not a good thing. But I'm just adding a little detail. It would really help getting my palette out. Sometimes I put my palette down because I'm not using that much paint, so I just go down and get it. But it does help to hold the palette sometimes. There we go. That works. I really think that works. I'm just grabbing these softer colors See that? These softer blues and whatnot. There we go, just to help layer. Got to have layers for your seascape to look good. It's just the way it is. There, maybe right here. Gonna add some extra interest and detail. Now, tell you what, sometimes you'll get in here and you'll think that, you'll think, oh man, I kind of wish I reshaped that wave a little. Well, here's how you can do that. Get in here with some dark, and you can cut the top of that wave off. I do this so often when I seascape paint. It just helps. Get back in there and cut that wave with a shadow. Excellent, there we go. Yeah, see the difference? You can literally just shape the top of your wave. Now, as far as the bottom of the wave is concerned, we need to get a kind of this dark purple. And this dark purple goes right here. This will be one of the darkest parts of the ocean, is right here under this wave. It creates a nice effect that way. Don't go too far up in the eye of your wave, or you'll be repainting that. And it's okay, that's no big deal. But there you go. Some decent shading up along the backside there. Oh, I like that. See, again, not too bright. This is just not a bright area. This is a bright area. This is not. We do not want to attract too much attention down here. Now, it's a balance, and the balance is, you don't want to attract so much attention that it's distracting, but you also don't want to leave it unfinished. So you have to find the balance. It's not too hard, keep painting. When it looks just about right, you stop. That's how you know. That is it. All right, look at that. Look at that. I want to say I've used the detail round brush today like I normally use a filbert brush. It is about that same size, about filbert brush size, I would say, compared to my normal stuff. There, that's good. Now, as far as, I'm just continuing with all these details, but as far as this is concerned, I think just a little darker edge will help to pop that out. As you can see, it makes a difference. Oh yes, it does. Wow. Excellent. That's one thing about painting. It is not one step and done. It's several steps all together that make something look really interesting. Sometimes one or two steps, oh, you got something nice, but to make it really good, it's not usually just one or two steps. I gotta be careful, I gotta look at what I'm doing instead of looking over here. That's how bad things happen, There we go. So now I'm gonna shape the cliff face here with some highlight on, of course, the detail brush. There's my highlight color, just kind of a light tan, nothing super important. In fact, I think I just mixed together a whole bunch of stuff that happened to be right there. Came out pretty good. Hey, sometimes color mixing is a little bit of a throw everything together and hope it works. Sometimes. There, that seems to be pretty good. I've wiped away a lot of this extra paint here for these cliff faces. They're not super wet, but they're still wet enough it's gonna blend pretty good. But if you get too much mud, just stop and wipe off your cliff face again, and it should help. How about a little right there? Of course, if this was a regular size, we'd be doing something more probably with the 3/4 brush. The 1/4 brush would be perfect, but I've got the detail brush in my hand because I was painting the oceans. Yes, you just have to use what's in your hand. That's usually the brush that's right for the job, the one that's in your hand. There we go. A little red just to sprinkle in and around some of kind of the areas that are a little closer. Red is a nice foreground color. It brings that closer to have a little red in it. Maybe on the other ones we'll put a little purple. That'll push them back. Well, the blue and the purple will push it back. Excellent. So now we're going to add on our final touches. I'll be doing some with the liner brush. I just thought I'd get a head start. Still using my detail brush. There, that's pretty good. Just trying to concentrate most of the detail and light there in the middle. We don't need much, don't want much on the edges. It'll draw your attention too much to those areas. We just don't need it. There, that totally works. Now, again, just like anything else with this whole painting, if it doesn't work for you, just wipe the canvas off. It'll work after you do that. Guarantee it, because it's one of those few things you can really guarantee. Because when you get the paint off, there's just nowhere for your paint to go. It has to leave the brush because there's nowhere else for it to go. So when there's too much paint caked up, it literally comes off the canvas and onto your brush, and that's when mud happens. And nobody likes mud. Oh, mud can be so frustrating, but it's so easy to avoid. So easy. Just paint in acrylics. Or wipe your canvas. There, that works. There, look at that, look at that. We'll just continue kind of, again, going back here, adding little bits of detail and just dialing it in until you got it just the way that you like it. Now, using the liner brush, we're going to just add in these last details, and it doesn't require much. We got it pretty good with the detail brush. It just doesn't need a lot of liner brush work. You could make it too busy, possibly. So we want to be careful not to do that. We'll just add in as much detail kind of in the middle as we think we need, and then be done with it. Because I gotta say, I like the way it turned out. I like the colors. A little bit more. They're not too bright as you go up into that wave, and you can adjust your color as you go. You know, you're not stuck with just one color. You can certainly change it up. I would recommend doing that and get a nice effect that way. You can do a little bit more. You can do a little bit of, there we go. You can do a little bit, I was going to say was, you can do a little bit more of these lines right here in the wave, but not too many. Because if you do too many, I think it'll just look too sharp. You want that wave to be fairly soft. So, don't do too many. Just getting too much concentrating and not enough thinking about what I'm saying. That's exactly what's going on. There, hey, I think we can work with that. Like I said, it doesn't really require much. Well, that about does it for this little lighthouse painting. It was kind of fun working on a smaller size just to change it up. Also enjoyed working with all the warm colors and the nice sunlight. And don't forget to check out our website, DVDs, and brush line. Thanks for watching.